In the early hours of trading for COSM, I actually posted this range for accumulation and or resistance. So both for support for reaccumulation and also a top target for today's price action. So actually we ended up getting precisely that. So we actually have to look at what the price action could do from these levels, because these types of prints are generally a bearish look. But let's go ahead and find out within this video. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a COSM technicals and raw price action thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. So we are looking at COSM on the daily chart right here, and we absolutely use the range that I actually presented early in the morning. Now, I did expect for this to reach, I was hoping for it to reach around the 58 cent level for reaccumulation before a bounce to the upside, but it's okay. There actually may still be an opportunity for us to look around this range coming up soon. And I will explain why I am looking that. But before we do that, know that this is actually a very bearish print. Okay, so we do have to watch our longs on this, but it could also signal just a temporary pullback. It doesn't actually have to be full-on reversal. Okay, so usually when we print at the top of a trend, especially in a higher term time frame, a hammer or even an inverted hammer, that usually signals a potential pullback on its way. Okay, so in this case, I am looking at a potential pullback here to around these areas, but let's go ahead and validate. Let's keep on going with this chart to see what we have. Okay, so first of all, after an uptrend, when you start printing this type of formation, this is actually called a pennant. Okay, so PENNANT. If you want to go ahead and look for it on Wikipedia or Google or whatever. So usually this presents a bullish outcome. Okay, so we are able to take a price objective in two different ways. We can take, say for example, we broke out here, right? We can take a trend line from that point of breakout and then applying it to the top of the triangle to gain a price objective. Okay. The other way we can do a price objective that's very popular is actually taking it from the top of the triangle, the trend line, right? And then taking the trend line to the bottom of the triangle and applying it to what usually presents as a breakout area of about 70% to the apex of the triangle, which would be around here. In this case, if we did break out, playing just by technicals and playing by just by the rules of the playbook, if we were to break out at the typical area, we're looking at a confluent mark of 3.618 Fibonacci ratio, the golden mean at $1.18. Okay, but that doesn't mean that we're just going to approach this immediately. We are on a 1 hour chart. This is the hourly chart, so I don't usually trade this, but it's okay. We are moving. I have to make adjustments to my strategy since there is a psychological component applied to this, since it is a squeeze play, right? So if we were to count some bars here to see how far ahead that 70% implied timing could be, let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So approximately 9 hours from the opening of the early pre-market session could be an area to where we could push to the upside. And it is a contingent upon breakout of this formation by itself. What I can see is that if we did break out, we could face some resistance from this range that we were looking at yesterday, which we absolutely used right here, and we could actually potentially just wick up a little higher past the 2.618, come back, confirm our newly converted resistance into support before a continuation on to the price objective. Now, we did do an ascending triangle here that I mentioned that we may be trading a little too early, but the breakout price objective for this triangle is actually taken from this point here to this lowest point. And then you can apply it to the to the hypotenuse of the triangle so you can get that price objective. That trend line is right here, suggesting this top right here. And as you can see, since the breakout, we absolutely have realized that that top price objective of this formation. So now this is not a rising a wedge, and it's not an ascending triangle. This is absolutely a bullish formation, and it is a pennant. Okay, so usually the pennant happens with a structure of lower highs and higher lows. Okay, so in this area, it is a very short term, formation that we can actually gauge a range of trading. And if I were to be able to just put a discretionary guess in this, since we are looking at a series of higher lows, I can potentially see us coming back to test anywhere between 70.37 to about 65.22, potentially tomorrow. And we could be presented with a wick down to the 60-cent level, which is at the 1.618. So this can actually just go a flash wick, just like this here. We flash wick down and recover right away and come back up to the top, just like this one right over here too. These as well. It's these flash wicks to the downside are very particular to bear markets, and they also are strategic from the market makers in order for them to be able to pull out potential stop losses sitting at confluent areas. Okay, so I want to say an area to where they can see a lot of stop losses in, so they can get they can see a probable variable or a statistic standard deviation. So they'll be able to see a range of where 68% of the average results land in, so that they could actually flash down to that area and pull out most of those stop losses, so they can pull longs out. So they could minimize their risk to the upside, since they absolutely see it. Okay, so I still am seeing some upside here, but for the meanwhile, this could be an accumulation period, of which can be played by scalpers and day traders, very much so. Okay, so if we're playing by the rules of the playbook, okay, not considering FOMO, not considering the psychology behind a squeeze play, usually the breakout point would be 70 to 75% to the apex of the triangle, and the price objective is suggesting a range between sorry, I said 118 earlier. Sorry about that. It's actually between 111 and 116. So that could be our next range of resistance, which we can actually just make a little note here for tomorrow's price action. We can see that this can be a very, very likely an area for us to find resistance before coming back and testing the 2.618 at 86 cents before a continuation onto the upside. That is one probability. The second probability would be to where we actually surpass the $1.16 area and touch on the range between the 4.236 and the 4.618 at 127. Between 10 cent a 10-cent deficit here is going to be between 137 and 127, and we can actually come back here and test the 3.618 as a valid form of support before continuing on to the upside. Similarly to what happened here, we went up to the 2.618, came back to the 1.618, found support, continued on to the upside. So there could be, and this is honestly the pattern in which COSM is following, and we're creating pennants after triangles after triangles. So this is it's following a certain. It's following a certain method or formation, if you will. Now, if you do want to get super technical, we can actually see a bearish formation forming literally right now. And this is usually when we're printing things like this is called an ascending wedge. And a rising wedge. Usually rising wedges present a bearish outlook. So if we were to, and again, it is approaching the 70% mark of this particular triangle here, and this definitely has a bearish price objective, of which we can also take a trend line from here to the lowest point, which could be around here, and applying it to that 70% completion point, which could be around here. And then we can see a dip back down to about 38.74 before continuing on to a different trend. We would have to validate that live though. And also we're in an hourly chart, so oftentimes formations fail the 1 hourly. It's better to look at them in higher term time frame, but know that there is a potential bearish overall formation forming within a bullish one, which is a core. You know, if you're looking at it like this, you can see that we can come back down here, like where I'm telling you that we can flash wick, recover it, and then break out of this triangle, confirm within this space, touching our support, which is confluent with our 2-spot 618 support here, breaking out of this, finding some resistance at the 4-spot 618, but then fakes out, bear trap, and it just takes people on down. This is a take profit zone per the play that I have listed in the Discord. So our entries were between 42, 39, and 31, in which a lot of people actually gained the number 3 entry. This was a very popular one. Okay, so if you're in this, you're definitely up several percentages. And our take profit is right here, 137.50. The take profit number 1. So, and that is very much in confluent with the 4-spot 618 that we're looking at here. So, if that is a potential area of trap, that could be it, and we could face a capitulation event down to, like what I said, about 39 cents, or the top of this price action here before finding support. Okay, there are things that we definitely need to watch out for. Now let's look at the RSI profile to gain an edge for tomorrow's trade. So the 30-minute is where we're going to start first. So for the new viewers, new listeners, I have actually, let me just close out my, actually I'm just going to move it into my other screen. Okay, so this is the, man, let me move my sound card. Okay, so this is a diagram that I've made for the new viewers and new listeners. This is my RSI zones. So you're looking at 4 zones right here, and these are the 4 zones listed right here, so that you can be able to tag along and not get lost in translation. Okay, so 30-minute time frame is suggesting an immediate short-term downside. Now both the bi-hourly and the 30-minute are suggesting a potential bearish cross of the moving average. The moving average represented by this pink line here, and the RSI is the purple line. Okay, so yeah, so this is still in bull weakness percentile. We are definitely within very, very high zones of the bull strength percentile here, suggesting a continuation onto the downside. The 6 hour, we're puzzling the pieces. Just I'm sorry, we're bringing the pieces one by one so we can puzzle it as we go, right? And we'll get an overall picture at the end. So the 6 hour is also suggesting a downside. We are well within an overbought percentile here, but this is not so significant, and it's not so aggressive to the downside, so which means that it's likely a corrective downside move followed by an upside. The 12-hour is also suggesting a downside continuation, but as you can see, we've been using the moving average as a form of per se support. So there is the potential to where we can come back down to this area here and continue on to the way up. So there's actually one more thing that I wanted to show you, and this is something that we spoke about yesterday. So yesterday we talked about the potential of invalidating some bearish, hidden bearish divergences, in which we have. So I told you if we close any candles above this area, I did mention this in yesterday's video. If we close candles above, I think I said about the 69 cent zone, we would then invalidate several forms of bearish divergence. So these hidden bearish divergence drives have all been invalidated now, which is incredible. I don't usually see this often, so now I have to like adjust to what we're doing. It is a very good thing, you know. I'm not opposed to this, you know. I'm personally up around 300%. I know some people are up like 1,000. It's just incredible. Okay, so now based on the suggestions, since we are looking at a potential downside for almost the entire day tomorrow, it is very reminiscent to what I'm talking to you about within the pennant. And let me just get rid of the rising wedge. So it is very much in accordance to what we're talking about here. We can see a potential downside move to these areas down here per the playbook, you know. So if there was a little area of or a little spark of FOMO, it's going to immediately get just jacked up right here, because you have this the resistance range that we've been talking about. You also have right in confluence the resistance of the pennant. So this could be a very short lived. Don't get faked out if it does, okay? But I don't know that it will. So don't get faked out here, okay? So this is likely an area to find resistance before we actually come down to what I said, between the area of 70, and so, yeah, this would be an optimistic low for us to reaccumulate. But I'm just going to put it out there. It's going to be between 60 cents and 70 cents. Know that I'm not a financial advisor. Can't actually suggest for you to sell or buy any assets, okay? Do your own DD. Make sure to take whatever I do show within these videos as just a form of entertainment, and we'll be okay. All right, so yes, I am looking at between 60 and 70 cents, but more so the support line here, which lands at about 66 cents for a form of reaccumulation, so that we can be able to ride this pattern here until we do move up to the upside. We can actually start a breakout late tomorrow, or sometime in the mid-session or after the mid-session, based on the timing that we're gauging here, and also the typical playbook rules of a pennant or a triangle breaking out around 70-75% to the apex. Okay, you guys. So I am seeing a top target upon, which is, remember, which is we need the conditions to be met. In per the playbook, not per FOMO or anything like that. So per the playbook, the conditions will be met, and then we'll make an ascent to the $1.11 area to $1.16 resistance range. Okay, you guys. So if you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me within Twitter or Discord. I'll make sure to leave the links in the description for you to consider joining the ARCa trading community in Discord. Okay, but with that said, I wish you a good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.